The S&P 500 and the stock market continue to look impressive, and we had a test of our key level here at 685 here on SPY. And again, you're wondering, well, why is this important? If we get above 685, in my personal opinion, your next target is into all-time highs above 690. Pushing towards the end of the year of the $700 price target and what's happening there right now. So we look at SPY, overall great action. Not a surprise when you move into a resistance. You expect to get a bit of resistance at that level, but as you still come into smaller time frames, you are doing what? You're making higher lows as usual, continuing this overall uptrend. And so far, the reaction from sellers has been pretty lackluster. When you look at volume, it's just been declining on the sell-off, and again, you're just rising back to that level. If you start to mount this level, you look really good. Going into QQQ, you look there as well, and again, pretty overall impressive. Higher lows clear as day there. Take a step back and you zoom out, and in my opinion, looks like you kind of just bullflied, came back down to support, bouncing off it and pushing up as well. Want to see a mount of that level around 625, 624.5. Above that, again, you have a gap into 630, but ultimately into all-time highs around 637, 636. The market still looks impressive, to say the least. Again, you look at the biggest and most influential sectors, SMH and XLK. SMH, like I mentioned before, is already breaking out. This was your kind of range here from 350 down to around 330. You broke out of that and was getting a little bit concerning, but once you remounted, you looked fine, and now you're just moving back up. The craziest part about all of this is that even though SMH is pushing to the upside, Nvidia still isn't even breaking out yet. Again, at 184 is your breakout point. You hold that and then get above 187, it's smooth sailing to the upside. I always say 184 is the most significant level on this chart, and again, you're finding resistance there once again. But it's worth mentioning, why is that important? Well, when you go look at the overall holdings here on SMH, it's nice when you can see, I'm not going to discount that Nvidia has been the backbone of the market, but it's nice to see other stocks in the same sector getting love without Nvidia's help, because that just shows you the market's in a healthy position and you're moving in a very good way. Now, again, some people are going to say, Tyler, you're a permeable, you're this, you're that. Guys, the only point of this channel is for me to talk about the market, what I like, what I'm trading, and what I think are the biggest and best opportunities out there. I'm never going to say something to just get a view. Maybe I'll put like a little bit of clickbait, but when I talk about stocks, when I talk about what I'm trading, why I'm trading it, there's usually a reason why. So again, when you look, Nvidia is a massive holding of SMH, the biggest, 17%. That's why it's so important here. And again, I like SMH over SOXX. You can look at the holdings, but SMH just makes more sense. So again, what's happening there? Now we go to XLK, which is the other ETF I was talking about. And again, you haven't even broke out here. You are trying, again, to get above 292 on that breakout. And we saw once SMH broke out, the market moved a lot. Once XLK starts to follow, I do believe Nvidia will follow as well. And again, you'll start seeing that bigger breakout towards all-time highs. But this is all just worth mentioning. You're not even breaking out yet on these other, smaller, the main ETFs that you're really watching. So important to see what's going on, where you're at, and how we're moving overall. Now, we have a lot to talk about with overall goals, targets, and the biggest and best opportunities in the market today and what I'm really watching. But before we do that, I do want to say one thing. If you want to see what we're trading, how we're trading, everything in between, the Discord link is down below. You get our watch list, you get what we're trading, all of our ideas, you get our scalp ideas as well, everything in between. The profits are all there as well for you. If you want to trade with us, see what we're doing all day, every day, it's there for you. And again, sometimes there's trades that I can't get into because I'm just like, again, when I post a trade in Discord, I'm putting my money in that trade. So there's sometimes like opportunities out there that I love, but I can't get into. So I still post those out there. Robinhood being one of those yesterday. Robinhood over 130, we were talking all about it. Again, Robinhood on the day is literally pushing it to 137, looking for 140. Again, I made the video here on YouTube as well. So again, killing it there also. So again, what you get there, so the link is down below. I also recommend that you follow on Twitter. So again, I post quick updates on SPY, QQQ throughout the day. And then of course, you're gonna get the rundowns of fundamentally what I'm looking at, charts, etc. It's all there for you. And the last thing I'm going to say is if you use prop firms, I recommend checking out Tradeify. They're running a deal right now. It's their new select plan. I do still personally recommend, if you're going for a bigger account like the 150Ks, Take Profit Trader is the way to go in my personal opinion. But Tradeify just have probably the best 50K account right now. Again, it's $95 all in. Profit target's only $2,500, and you can do daily payouts once you're funded, or you can get the 5-day payouts. Pretty crazy, good deal. Links down below, code Hefe. So do what you gotta do. Now, let's get back into what we're looking at and how we're gonna be trading going into the end of this week. So, I really think going into this week, looking at the SPY, looking at futures, I don't think the mentality, I think a lot of people, if you're on social media, Twitter or YouTube, a lot of people were pointing to this idea of like, okay, well, yet last week didn't really matter because it was a holiday weekend and volume was low. And traditionally, I would agree with that idea and that thesis. But I think it's important that people are, number one, we don't just say things. Like we have to back them up with facts. So like that statement of me saying that last week was bad volume. Last week wasn't bad volume. If you look at how we're moving right now on SPY, just go to Yahoo Finance, type in historical. You can look at this other ways too. This is just the simplest way to do it. Go to historical data and then look right here. This is last week. So last week, the 24th through the 28th, okay? I mean, pretty decent volume. 80 mil, 81 mil, 71 mil. That's the day before Thanksgiving. Then obviously the day after was a half day of 50 million. You need to understand, yesterday's volume was pathetic. The day before that, pretty low. The day before that, pretty low. You don't have to have high volume to trend in a direction. So that's the number one thing people need to understand. High volume typically only happens in two places. Okay, let me make sure people understand this. Okay, if you don't believe me, go back test it. Go look back at previous days and look when you get your highest volume, typically, unless there's news. Okay, so let's say you're trading in a range. So this is, I'm going to show you both ways of where you typically get volume. Okay, and how to spot this and what I look for. Okay, so if you're trading in a range like this, typically, you're not going to get crazy volume, okay? You're going to have pretty consistent volume, whatever it may be. But when you're going to get higher volume is typically when you're breaking out, right? And you're reversing off this. That's typically where you're going to get that. The other places that you're going to get it, and it's two different instances, but it's the same type of case, okay? So on breakouts, and then also too, when you're finding bottoms or maybe finding a top, okay? What I mean by that. So when you're moving up in a trend and higher lows, you typically don't have crazy volume. Go look at past data, okay? But when you're moving and you might top out like right here, and you start aiming back down, and you start breaking structure, well, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna get higher volume at that peak because again, you're seeing sellers step in and it's called stopping volume. We've talked about it here on the channel. And the same thing for the downside. So if you're trending down, you might have higher average volume, but you're gonna see your biggest spike typically at those lows when you start to reverse. That's typically where it's gonna be, which is very important to understand, okay? So people always say you don't have to have high volume all the time, but it's worth mentioning last week was still higher volume than this week. So if you go back to SPY and you look and you bring up volume and we're on the daily chart, well, look where your highest volume is. Don't shoot the messenger. Your highest volume on SPY was literally the Thursday before Thanksgiving, which marked out your lows. Just saying. Okay, that's your highest volume going all the way back to April 9th of this past year, which if you know what April 9th was, that was around the same time as what? When you made your bottom on SPY as well. So your highest volume days typically correlate with lows or highs. Very important because again, stopping volume is it's real. I'm not making it up. So again, go look it up, go educate yourself, whatever you may need to do. And so I just encourage people, and including with myself, don't just randomly believe people on social media like, well, man, last week's volume was bad. I just showed you like it wasn't bad. Like it was average to high. So important to understand that, okay? And always do your own research because at the end of the day, people on this app, and I like to be transparent and honest, they don't care if you lose or make money. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody cares. Okay. If I talk about a trade here and I'm like, okay, I went long on Nvidia and Nvidia crashes down to 170. I care that I lost money. I could care less if Jimmy and Timmy that were on this channel lost money. I don't care. That might sound rude, whatever, but that's just honest. Like I have no emotion. Like if you were my family, maybe, but like there's just no, like, I don't care. I'm just here to talk about what I'm doing and what I'm looking at. So important to know that. So it's a dog eat dog world. Do what you gotta do. Some people might hate that. Some people might appreciate that, but that's where you're at. So as we move into next week and into this week, honestly, all I want to see is a hold above 685 here on SPY. Now going towards and going into QQQ, if you want to see this as well, I should have marked it out, but it's basically like right there. I didn't mark it. I just drew on it yesterday, which is probably not the best. Like 625 is what we want to see. Above 625, you look really good. So yeah, and if you go into Dow, like Dow futures, you arguably look better. Dow is trying to push back in all-time highs. DIA, you can go look at that if you want. Again, breaking out too, looks phenomenal. So again, overall, everything looks really solid. Now, I do want to spend some of this time on futures as well, because I think futures are very helpful. Now, one of the big things that I've been talking a lot about, and I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to my trading over the past week and a half, I've actually kind of shifted how I'm focused and how I'm trading right now. Okay. A lot of the trades I was previously doing were quick in and out of trades, not holding overnight. I've kind of shifted my focus to holding a lot of shit overnight now. So again, the past week, I'm still sitting in CrowdStrike. I haven't closed it out. I just wanted to update people on that. But yeah, so I ended up entering CrowdStrike, which I had some that I already exited, but still in some further ones out. And then we got ASML as well. So definitely being able to catch the trend and understanding where the money is and where money is flooding into, because I think you're getting some nice breakouts. And then as well as all those stocks that we were buying. So when we were really low at the lows, I wasn't going crazy buying short-term options. I was buying stocks and I was buying leaps. And I'm being totally honest, telling you what I bought. And I'm posted it all in Discord as well. So I'm not gatekeeping whatsoever. Number one, when we started, I started buying again in Nebius around 87 to 85. And we bought again, I think we bought at 92 the first time around this range. Now we're sitting pretty. I think Nebius is going to run to 110. You're breaking back out. I think Nebius looks amazing, to be totally honest. The other stock we bought too was VRT. I've mentioned all these stocks here on the channel already. Again, VRT mounted clearly 156, holding the 50 MA. Looks like I honest to God think VRT could get into all-time highs by year's end. I'm not betting on that. I just have stock. I don't have any options. It's Nebius, VRT, all stock. Another stock I have is Tempest. We were buying at the 200 daily moving average. Mentioned that here as well. But again, where you're at, you're bouncing off of a 66, pushing back up. If you start holding above 80 bucks, I'm looking for 90. You look really good there as well. SoFi looks really good, bouncing off of 25. Really great. Another name I was telling you guys all about. I did not end up buying this, but it's one of the names I just was telling you all about. Rocket Mortgage. I'm trying to tell, this is set up to have a great year. 15 bucks down here, almost at the 200 SMA, almost at 20 bucks right now. Killing it. Again, very, very, I might be missing a few names as well, but very, very, very strong. A lot of these names we've been talking, buying, even HIMS bouncing off at 35, needs to get back up above 42. I think I'm back green. So again, looking for this to break back up. So overall, and Oscar, can't miss Oscar. So again, these are all the names we've been buying. Okay. Now where we bought leaps, again, Microsoft. And again, Microsoft, you're getting some opportunity. Now, we were buying leaps down here at 470. And again, to give you an idea of what this is, it's your previous all-time high from back here, 2024. You're mounting that level. So again, as long as you hold it, you look good. Above 492, you look really good. That's when the money printer really starts going. NVIDIA, I think NVIDIA is what's crazy is I promise you this is going to happen on NVIDIA. I'm willing to bet. You're going to watch and read my comments in the next few months. And people are like, well, do you think I can still get an NVIDIA? Do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I was buying leaps from like 178 down to 174, 173. Do what you want, but again, killing it as well. Above 184, I think this is going to just go right back up. Very bullish on them, like what I'm seeing. But those are all the stocks I've been buying. I'll tell you right now. Maybe a few others, but that's the focus, okay? Now, in the short term, what am I looking at? What I think has a good opportunity? I do think Tesla is one of the better looking stocks right now. Surprisingly, once you remounted, like I mentioned, 414 down here. Yeah, the rest was history, just to say that. So you're getting back above right now. As long as you stay above 439, you look really good. I think you're targeting closer into 460, 450. But I mean, honestly, this thing can start running into highs. You're getting a lot of call volume, a lot of big buyers stepping in. One of the risks, and again, I was telling this to Discord today too, I think it's high risk, high reward. Expect a video to come out on the channel soon. But Oracle back above the 200 daily moving average. 198 was an aggressive buy in my opinion, but again, getting above the 200, I think you look really solid. I would not be surprised once you get above 218, you start pushing it to 240. Again, telling you right now, and you have room all the way back to 260. A name that kind of, again, I think these are totally different names, but again, look at Meta. A lot of people were afraid. A lot of people were terrified of Meta. They're like, Tyler, what do you mean you're buying it? Weren't you just short? I was short. Once you remounted 602, you got above 610. I was like, this is so long, guys. It's easy. Right into the 200 daily moving average. And again, everything that we talk about here, I do deep dives. We went over all of it. When we talked about Meta, the forward-looking PE ratio on it is the lowest of all Mag 7 names at 19. It was a literal dirt steal. We tried to tell you. We literally went over all of this here on the channel. So make sure you're tapped in. But again, you go back to the story, guys. What do we talk about? Number one, your revenue overall on Mag 7 names are looking amazing and they're not looking to slow down at all. You need to realize this is Q3, Q4. Every year is like typically our highest performing quarter, like statistically speaking. So you have to assume it's going to be even a better Q4, which is Q3 is already outpacing last year's Q4, which again is based on history is better than what we usually do. You can see Q3 usually underperforms the previous year's Q4. So growth on the year has been phenomenal and doesn't look it's going to slow down. So all the bears out there that are saying these companies are, a bubble, this and that, the bubble might be real, but it's not real right now. You need to understand, being a year, 2 years early on a trade, that doesn't mean you're right. Okay, do your own research, but after looking at this, it's hard to be bearish where we're at right now. So again, what I'm looking at, how I'm watching, again, this week though, I'm going to tell you right now, all I want to see is a close above 685. We get a close above 685 on the daily, we look golden, we look great. Same thing going into QQQ. Can we get a hold above 625 there also? So again, what we're looking at, why we're looking at it. If you have questions, please let me know. Again, the comments, I'll try to get to your comment. And as well, the best way if you ever want to get a hold of me or ask a question about a chart is Twitter. Again, I try to have respond to everything when it comes to Twitter and post what you guys want to see. So have a good one. See you in the next video. Have a good one, traders.